All right, shalom, boys. Here, I have been extremely busy taking care of some projects on the land, and I'm telling you, man, if it ain't one thing, it's another when it comes to homesteading. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos because people need to understand how this thing works from an economic perspective. Whether it's homesteading in community, no difference. The infrastructure is still the same, but what I wanted to talk about was basic expenses versus operating expenses. And let me tell you personally, uh, at any given month, my operating expenses can be 2 to 3 times my basic expenses. Meaning, we don't have a heating bill. We have a minimal food bill. We have no mortgage or rent or water bill or sewage bill or car note. But we do have, car insurance, phone bill, internet, insurance for those who are wise enough to have it, life insurance. We have those basic expenses, and still they run about $600-700 a month. But when it comes to homesteading and operating expenses, it's an entirely different deal. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm on my way to pick up a cover for my decline. Everybody's fucking calling me. A cover for my well pump because last night the power went out. And let me tell you, I was just talking about getting my solar, but some things came up and that, that went sideways in terms of some things that had to take care of. Just put it like that. But that was my solar money. But so the power goes out and the well pump on the line inside of the well house freezes. And of course we wake up in the morning time and hey, no water. So therefore I have to go and I may have to reconfigure the well because I put a new pressure tank on it and I may not have done it right. So I have all of the stuff to do it, but it's not the time to do it in the freezing cold. Never attempt to thaw out pipes in the freezing cold or run water through hot water. You know what I'm saying? Let it just thaw out naturally. And this is why it's so important to, let's see if we can get that, to have water on hand. And we have 5-gallon jugs that we fill up, and we're currently using those 5-gallon jugs. I would suggest that you have at least 10 per person in a household. And we have pretty much that much. So now that the pipes are thawing out and I have to get a new cover and everything because it's still freezing outside, we have water, and we have ways in which we can heat up the water. Put it on the wood stove, put the 5-gallon water jugs. And I'm going to show you because I got to pick up another one, the way in which to get the water out the water jugs. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to unforeseen expenses that is always coming up. And stuff is expensive. I had to order parts, so I had to get parts from Tractor Supply to fix my front gate. Again, it was freezing cold outside, but I had to be out there fixing the front gate. And the metal parts cost $100. It was ridiculous, the amount of inflation that's going on. But I'm going to see how much this well pump tank cover costs. Don't know how much it's going to cost, but I got to buy it. Because the old one that I had, when I moved onto the property, the old well tank, cover was there. I didn't pay it too much mind. It works just fine. If we have an old saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it needs to be replaced. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. But these kind of things take place all the time. Hot water heaters go out. That's the next thing I got to replace is the hot water heater. I'm going to put in the propane heater. I got the lines and everything, and that's something that I'm going to do for the spring because we want to get everything that we need on propane because we can store, and I do store extra propane tanks. And again, another thing I plan on getting is another propane tank and linking them up so that we have, because that propane tank that we have on the land probably will last us 7-8 months. But I want to have at least 3 years worth of propane on the land, 3 to 3.5 years worth of propane on the land. But these are the kind of things, in addition, 3.5 years worth of wood, food, all of these things are way above my basic expenses. And this is why I say, you can't be in a situation where you are homesteading and you're working a job or minimum wage job, honestly, truly, unless that is not like a 6-figure or a high-paying job, because your paycheck can be $400-500 in a week, and you got other expenses. How can you go about doing that? How can you go about doing that? You got to put your whole check towards, just this one project, and that's just not feasible for a lot of people. We got to look at the reality of this situation. A lot of people are not going to, and are failing miserably at Homestead. Now talk about heat. Put in wood stove, put in wood stove, put in wood stove. Do you know how much it costs to fill up one of those 5-gallon propane tanks and use it in a heater in a cabin? Do you know how long it takes to burn that thing out? 1-2 days. So you're talking about $20-30 to fill up a 5-gallon propane tank. And you're doing that every 2-3 days. Not only do you have to have excess propane tank, it's just ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. But for those who want to homestead, move on a piece of land, you have to take into consideration all of these things. Now, I know I'm a project manager by trade. That's why I'm so successful at it, because I know how to plan. I know how to strategically plan. And a lot of people, and it's sad to see people as well in leadership positions. Now, I'm telling all across, I don't care what flavor of Israelitism or Christianity that you have, when you come to homesteading, it's people that just don't have the mind to do this, to pull this thing off. But, hey, you gotta be able to have real skills, because what that's going to do is it's going to put you in a situation as to where you can have, cash on hand. You should have an emergency fund. You should have, at least 3 to 6 months worth of a living expenses put back, just in case something happens. You got to have that emergency fund. And these are things that, I'm dealing with these problems and I'm not even touching the emergency fund. You got to understand that, when it comes to an emergency fund, what is usually is going to entail. And for me personally, it's always entailed the car, the truck. That's the only time I've had to really use an emergency fund. Anything else I can deal with in cash flow up to like $1,000. But because a water heater costs $1,000, you have to look at it in terms of these expenses, and to ensure that you can deal with these things efficiently from an economic perspective, that you're not putting yourself in a situation as to where, a day like today is freezing cold, pipes are bursting, you can't, or pipes are frozen, and you can't get the water, and so therefore you don't have a backup water plan, so therefore you don't have no water. I mean, it's one of the craziest things to be on municipal water supply, or not have a reliable water source on a backup plan to get that water just in case something takes place. Much to be desired. But y'all stay encouraged out there. I'm going to be tapping, getting some more videos in, because this is the kind of information that needs to be put out there. It's not being put out there enough, in my humble opinion. But y'all stay blessed. Shalom.